Ron Woodman is from Ohio. Commander Woodman is a member of CESJ and the American Revolutionary Party. He will be speaking on behalf of the American Revolutionary Party and his signature proposal, the Capital Homestead Act. He served as president of the Oglebay Norton Employee Buyout Association, seeking to acquire on behalf of the workers a $100 million shipping company in Cleveland, Ohio. Please welcome Commander Woodman.
Thank you, Brother Brantley. Dr. and Mrs. Kurland, ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to speak on behalf of the New American Revolutionary Party and the Capital Homestead Act, the centerpiece of our party's 21st century economic strategy for empowering every American citizen. The Capital Homestead Act is a comprehensive national economic strategy for getting ownership, income, and power to every citizen, including the poorest of the poor, with the means to acquire, control, and enjoy the fruits of productive corporate assets. Throughout history, the rich and powerful owned the things that produced wealth. When land and people were what produced wealth, the rich and powerful owned land and people. Today, the things that produce most of the wealth are land and technology, such as machines and robots and rentable structures and advanced information systems. So today, the rich and powerful are the ones who own land and technology. So what's the problem? The problem is that too few of us own income-producing wealth, capital, and too many of us own nothing. Many people own more than they own. If you feel economically insecure, you're not alone. The fact is, you are economically vulnerable if you don't own, as your private property, some of the land and technology that produce most of our wealth. Economic power is tied closely to political power. It comes from property and the means to acquire property. And again, in today's global economy, the most significant forms of property are in advanced technologies and corporate equity. When ownership of advanced technologies and corporate equity is concentrated, power is concentrated. This is why few people are very powerful and most people are virtually powerless. The wealth-producing power of an individual worker has not increased much over the last 1,000 years. Pitted against the productive power of advanced technologies, most non-property owning workers can only produce insecure subsistence incomes from their jobs. Some people, however, profit from the work that technology does by owning shares in the company that use technology. These people become rich and powerful because they own things that produce most of our wealth. The U.S. economy, for example, well, we say that in a democratic and just society, every person should have an equal opportunity to acquire and own shares in companies that use advanced technology, just like our rich people do. The U.S. economy, for example, should have programs that lift artificial tax and credit barriers to help every American become an owner of American industry instead of trying to create jobs when more workers are not needed. Every citizen could then earn an income from his ownership of capital to supplement his income from a job. Capital homesteading is quite simply a revolutionary way to turbocharge America's 21st century free enterprise economy. It is designed to broaden the ownership of America going forward, thereby raising the individual sovereignty of each human person above the sovereignty of the government. Unlike other plans offered by today's leaders, A form of capital homesteading for every citizen has already been tested in workers in more than 10,000 ESOP corporations in the United States. It works. When Congress passes our Capital Homestead Act, every child, man, and woman in America will have access to interest-free capital credit from their local banks to share ownership in the profits from a vastly more productive, life-enhancing free enterprise system. Our plan will benefit and empower everyone, from labor workers who are increasingly being replaced by technology to college graduates with dysfunctional degrees, to the poorest of the poor in our big cities, and to the people in our rural community who have been struggling to survive for decades now. And the already rich will benefit greatly too, as Capital Homestead Act is designed to restore their heretofore attenuated property rights and grow the pie. Our plan appeals to those who are often well-intended, but who have yet to be exposed to these totally new and revolutionary ways to solve our problems. It's not just about capitalism and socialism anymore. There is a new, just third way that will allow us to reorganize the social and economic affairs of mankind without violating the individual sovereignty of the person or property rights of anyone. We know how to make the poor rich without making the rich poor. You know, to be perfectly honest, we have yet to present this revolutionary concept to any open-minded or frustrated person seeking positive solutions, whether Republican, Democrat, or Independent, whose eyes did not light up, whose heart did not start beating a little faster, and who did not respond by saying, "That's so obvious, why didn't I think of that?" One group of people who will oppose this novel concept is the power elite and their hired lackeys who have a vested stake in a system that keeps 99% of humanity under their thumbs. Another group are those whose minds are pre-programmed and closed. Those lock-stepping non-thinkers on the left and the right. Those who can't understand because they refuse to look or consider anything new. So if your mind is closed, if the last chapter in your book of light has already been written, if you really and truly think that America is hitting on all cylinders today, then the American Revolutionary Party and capital homesteading is not for you. If that's your case, we suggest that you kindly step aside and allow the 99% of us to make their way to the front of the line where the playing fields of life are more level for everyone. So, if you are ready to become a firelighter, then we want to meet you. We want to work together with you. And we want to build a future that our kids will be proud to inherit, and their kids can look back and say, thanks to the Capital Homestead Act, we have restored the original dream of America's founders and created a true nation of independent owners. Thanks to the capital homesteading, the sovereignty of each human person has been preserved above the sovereignty of the government. And thanks to the Capital Homestead Act for reclaiming the heritage, our heritage, as one nation under God. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the CESJ members and their guests who were able to make it to Washington to stand with us here today. I'd also like to thank all of our working devotees all over the world who cannot be here to celebrate this with us. It takes guts to fight for justice in a world full of ignorance and apathy. My wife and I recently attended a performance of Man of La Mancha in Portland, Maine. There is a passage in that play where the playwright, Don Miguel de Cervantes, is asked to explain why the errant knight Don Quixote de la Mancha continues to fight against all odds for what is right, even to the point of making himself look ridiculous among his family and friends. Why he refuses to see and accept life as it is. His answer in the play made a deep impression on me. I have lived nearly 50 years, and I have seen life as it is. Pain, misery, hunger, cruelty beyond belief. I've heard the singing from taverns and the moans from bundles of filth in the streets. I've been a soldier. I've seen my comrades fall in battle or die more slowly under the lash in Africa. I've held them in my arms at the final moment. These were men who saw life as it is, and yet they died despairingly. No glory, no gallant last words, only their eyes filled with confusion, whimpering the question, why? I do not think they asked why they were dying, but rather why they had lived. When life itself seems lunatic, who knows where madness lies? Perhaps to be practical is madness. To surrender dreams, this may be madness. To seek treasure where there is only trash. Too much sanity may be madness, but maddest of all, to see life as it is and not as it ought to be. Thank you very much.